Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And just before we begin, I want to apologize for the past two videos. The SmackDown review and my Static X video got a little jacked up, some audio issues. You know, sometimes I use the Blue Yeti, and I ordered it off of eBay used, so there might be issues from time to time. But, I also use a Logitech camera, and sometimes there may be issues with the connectivity between the two at times. So, I should have really checked. But the only thing is, as you know, a lot of times with those reviews, there's absolutely no editing or anything when I do a quick little vlog like that. So, an hour and 7 minutes went by in the SmackDown review, and I have like no way of knowing if the video was getting fucked up or not. But I also noticed I had a lot of saved videos in the cameras folder, so I had to delete a lot of those. I had a few videos that were like 1 gig, because when I shoot these, I do it in lossless quality. So, you get the absolute best picture that you possibly could get. So I want to apologize for that ahead of time. But anyway, let's talk about Crown Jewel and the fact that I will not be reviewing this show. And I didn't really make that clear, and I didn't even really state that as an absolute in either of my Raw or SmackDown reviews. But I am here to say that without a shadow of a doubt, you will not be seeing a review of that pay-per-view. Now, you may be shocked, but then again, think about it. I didn't review the Greatest Royal Rumble, and, I did disagree with them going to Saudi Arabia and everything, and it had a little bit to do with it, but I wasn't really thinking about it in a political morality sense as I am now. It was more that I just didn't give a shit. There was, nothing really on that show that really interested me that much. It just kind of seemed like a show that you kind of knew that not a lot was going to come of it. And I've got a feeling it's going to be the same thing with this show, except there's one big difference. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this show, and that controversy, for once, is definitely warranted. Saudi Arabia right now coming under fire, the WWE coming under fire, and it's not SJW business for a change. And I know a lot of people and Schleg Daddy called it SJW business, and like I said, for the record, I'm a fan of Schleg Daddy. I really like his videos, and I like OTR Essential. Please subscribe to him. Do him that favor. So you'll be following one of the great YWC member that I approve of. Because people are always asking who I watch in the YWC. And besides Wrestling Jesus, Schleg Daddy is really the only other one. As far as it relates to other people, in case everybody always brings up, JD from New York. I don't really like his view on wrestling. I just don't really care for him. I've watched him a few times, and people think that just because both of us being from New York is going to matter, but I've listened to him. We have two way different philosophies on wrestling. He's all about, like, having a great match and loving Seth Rollins and all this, and you guys know that I'm more of like the entertainment attitude here. Like, I love a good match. I love good wrestling. I love, I put over the cruiserweight match for fuck's sakes, but I'm not really, when they did it in Australia. But I'm saying I'm not somebody who's gonna like drool over 5-star matches and all this stuff. JD is more of a Dave Meltzer kind of guy, I think. I'm not saying that he goes by everything Meltzer says, but I kind of get that from him, that he's sort of like one of those people that would like fall into this category where he would be like anti-Vince. You know what I mean? Like normal, like YWC people. You know what I'm saying? JD doesn't really set himself away from the pack. I know there's going to be a lot of people who say that he does. And I don't, like, if this creates any type of controversy or anything like that, because I know people want that in the YWC. They kind of want it the way it used to be, where there's a lot of like, you know, angst and anger in the YWC, and I even got wrapped up in that for a short time. But you know, I'm not doing it like to cause. I'm just saying I'm not a fan. I like OTR Essential. I like Wrestling Jesus. I like the way they present themselves. And I don't know, it doesn't really matter if I agree or disagree with those people, but I like what they have to say. So I enjoyed hearing Schleg Daddy's approach, but I thought that it was, you know, way too much with, you know, hey, let's just accept everything because, you know, we don't want to be called SJWs. Now, if you look back on this channel, I've done a lot of rants as it relates to wrestling and as it relates to a lot of other things about being against social justice warrior culture and behavior, and I think that it is not only immature, I think that it is self-destructive to society. So if, you know, I ever catch myself doing that, I'm probably not going to make a video about it, to be sure. So, but when it comes to something like this, it's not about being an SJW. This is about good taste. This is about doing what's right. I mean, you had a guy fucking get killed in their embassy. And, you know, it's like nobody in Saudi Arabia is apologizing. Nobody cares. They won't even admit to it. You know, the guy never came out. There was no body found. There's all these rumors about what they did to the body and all that. I don't even want to get into it. It's just so much negativity, evil, and just, it's bad shit. And, you know, the WWE doesn't even really bat an eye at this or anything. Doesn't put out a statement. Put out a statement. You know, what did they decide to do? Right away, they should have canceled the show or at least postponed the show. Can you maybe for 2 seconds, maybe, you know, not do the show right away when it's like the heat is on and you're getting criticized by the media and you're so concerned about, you know, what's, you know, about your public image and everything like that. And, you know, and how you're perceived, you know what I'm saying? And someone even asked me in my comments in my Raw review, or the SmackDown review, whichever one it was, somebody said, what does Roman Reigns' cancer have to do with the Saudi Arabia show? And you see, when you have to ask a question like that, you're not really listening to what I'm saying, because that means that you're just kind of hearing words, but you're not really putting them together. Because I've had people compliment this to me all the time, and that usually when I speak, it's usually pretty clear and concise. I also put things in a lot of different ways, and sometimes I may repeat myself, but it's to make my point, because sometimes people comprehend things in different ways, and I've experienced this. Whether it be at work, in real life, in friendships, and relationships, it's very important to be versatile in your speech. Because when you're conveying a message, not everybody is going to understand what you are saying, even though they're fluent in English. They may even have, you know, big degrees and everything from high universities and whatnot, but you know, sometimes people just don't grasp certain concepts. They don't grasp certain statements, even though one may perceive them to be quite simplistic in, you know, in the content of what is being said. So I make sure that I say things in a number of different ways, because my audience is diverse, and people are very diverse when it comes to how they comprehend and, you know, accept information into their minds and how they process said information. So, with that said, you know, they are hypocrites. And why does this relate to Roman Reigns' cancer? Well, it has nothing to do with just Reigns' cancer. It has to do with their charitable image. They always are with be a star It was Make-A-Wish to begin with, and they have no shame at all about plugging how great they are. Look at how caring we are. We're donating to charity. We're making other companies donate to charity. When they have Hyundai come in, car company, donate a big check. So it's Susan G. Komen month. Last month it was Connor's Cure month. So they're all about helping people. Good squeaky clean image. We're PG. We're good wholesome family entertainment. Never mind that the owner of the company is making fun of JR, who has Bell's palsy, and even fire the guy because he had Bell's palsy and he wasn't able to perform his job duties. Never mind any type of labor laws or anything like that have been on the books for years. Never mind that or anything like that, because that doesn't matter. So, you've got this concept that they love to promote. And, and who wouldn't, this is what everybody does. Like, if you're a big company, you're going to put out the message of how great you are so people like you. People tweet your messages on Twitter. They promote how great you are. People reach out to you, to promote you even further. It grows the brand. And that is what Vince McMahon is trying to do right now. He's trying to grow that brand as big as possible because he doesn't really give a shit about this product anymore. He's now focused on the XFL. He's already focused on something else that has already failed. He wants to build up that brand so they can sell it off. And like I said, I think one of those big buyers they're looking into is Disney. So they're all about the money. But here there's an interesting crossroads. After all that time they spent building up that public image and all the charity, and we're on Good Morning America, and we're having John Cena talking about, Make-A-Wish and all this type of stuff and everything, and now they're at this crossroads where they're looking like horrible people because they're going to be going to a dangerous place where somebody just a week ago lost their life. And, as far as I'm concerned, there's not even enough outrage among people on the internet about this. They get outraged over an NPC meme. There seems to be more people outraged over the fucking NPC meme than a journalist losing his life in Saudi Arabia. So now they're at this interesting crossroads where now the same people that were praising them for their charitable work in the media are now coming after them because they're putting on a show in a very, very controversial place at the moment. And they won't even postpone the show. No. It's all about money, 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 money right away. We need to have that money. We need to make sure that money is in our pockets. God forbid we upset them in any way. We upset the Saudis. We upset the deal. What would be the big deal to fuck up this deal? And what is the big deal? They'd lose the money. So now it's the PR image or the money. Which one's it gonna be? You would think that maybe if they were smart, they'd probably go with the PR image because they're trying to build up their brand. Because if you have a lot of money and you have a shit image, the money's not going to really matter at the end of the day. And someone like Disney is not going to want to buy such a controversial company that is going to be looked down upon. I guarantee you they're going to go to Saudi Arabia and they're going to get a lot of flack. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of other companies and a lot of media outlets that are going to be turning their back. And there's going to be a lot of people canceling their network subscriptions as well. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of other people that are not going to watch the show anymore. And that means Raw and SmackDown. They're not even going to put the show on anymore. They're going to blackball WWE. So they are fucking themselves over big time by doing this. And so that is what I mean when I compare it to the whole cancer thing. It's really interesting how they've tried to build this image for themselves, but when it comes right down to it and they have this one moment where they have to make a decision, and it really shouldn't be that hard to make. This is a shitty move This is a dick move to go and do this. You know, it's making you look greedy. It's making you look like all you do, you care about money, and it's going to contradict all the years of hard work that you did to build up the whole charity image. All the people with a brain who've been watching this company for years and years and years and know how Vince McMahon is, and they've seen the firings he does and how he's treated workers and everything like that, with concussions, wanting to take no responsibility whatsoever. We already know this. But for everybody else, now that's going to be confirmed for the whole entire world to see. It's going to make Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, all those people, it's going to make them look fucking horrendous. And I'm happy about that, actually. I'm ecstatic that, you know, this company is going to finally get what's coming to it. Because, you know, there's a bunch of karma just waiting to hit Vince McMahon in the face. And I think that this is exactly how it's going to be. You know, after, you know, basically turning his back on all the people that supported the company over years, gave their hard-earned money to it, and he gives us this shit fucking product, disrespecting fans and everything. And, you know, it doesn't, I mean, a lot of these fans are dicks anyway. You already saw that they were wutting Roman Reigns during his promo where he admitted he had leukemia. So it's not even that, but I'm talking about the old school fans and everything like that, just completely selling out and all that bullshit. I'm not even really too concerned about, you know, the wrestling and the product. I'm just saying, you know, just I think back to like how they treated people like Dolph Ziggler, and they've treated guys like, you know, Mr. Kennedy, and you know, you could think of a whole bunch of other wrestlers. I can't think of them at the moment, where, you know, they've had health problems, and what did they do? They fired the people. Like I said, JR, the voice of WWE, you know, fired multiple times due to his Bell's palsy, which is just fucking horrible. I mean, you talk about having a black heart, you talk about, you know, not having any emotion, or, you know, just man, like, you just completely shut out to the world and how people feel. That's Vince McMahon. So, you know, when it comes down to it, it's like, I'm not going to review this show because I'm not going to put my morals and my own integrity coming on here, you know, at risk. I'm not going to look like a hypocrite. I mean, I'm going to spend all this time talking about how doing this show is wrong, and then I'm going to go ahead, sit there for 4 hours and watch the fucking show? No, I'm not going to do that. There's no fucking way that I'm going to sit there and watch an inconsequential show with some stupid shit, the World Cup. And I mean, it's a real shame. Shawn Michaels is coming back. He's going to be doing this show. You know, and it's just, it's a waste. What a waste to have a return. Save it to Survivor Series. Save it to WrestleMania. Save it to one of the other shows. But you're going to do it in Saudi Arabia, of all places. And I used to think that, like, you know, Shawn Michaels is a proud American. I know The Undertaker is. And Kane is a mayor in the United States, in Tennessee, a very patriotic state. You know, and this guy, you know, from what I've seen with Kane, he's a conservative. He's, you know, he's a patriotic dude. And he is going to leave his office in Tennessee. He's going to leave his semi-retirement, and he's going to come out to just perform here to make extra money. And the thing is, these dudes already have so much fucking money. Like I said, I understand why a guy like Murphy or somebody like Seth Rollins might go on to this show. You know, they don't have as much as these other legends do. But, you know, even for the legends, like, these people are supposed to be older and wiser. And they were from a time when the WWE stood for something way different. And they're still going to go. Because it really shows you, when it comes down to it, and it comes down to large sums of money, all bets are off. You know, it doesn't matter what your morals are. It doesn't matter what you stand for, what your convictions are. Because apparently, you don't think that a guy like The Undertaker and everything, you know, you see like what this guy stands for, pro Second Amendment and everything like that. He walks around with the shirts on. You could see it, you know, on social media. And when it comes right down to it, he don't give a fuck. You know, the money's there, and that's all he wants. Just give him the fucking money. And I mean, like, I always loved the Undertaker. But it's like, man, you know, you're just going to go over there after what you see. And I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure he's aware of the news. I'm sure all these guys who are competing have at least heard something on, you know, they're always on their phones, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. They must have seen something about what's going on in Saudi Arabia, about this whole story. So do you think that maybe they might say, oh, you know what? This is probably not a good idea for me to go over there for my own brand, for my own image, and for my own integrity. I mean, so why would they go? Why would they do it? So you know what? If they're not going to do it, I'm going to do something. I'm not going to watch this shitty-ass fucking show. I don't care if Shawn Michaels, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, is going to be coming out of retirement. I'm not going to watch this show. It's a fucking insult, and, you know, I am just, you know, and it's an insult to everyone's intelligence. Because what did they decide to do with this show? You know what I'm saying? They didn't postpone it. They didn't cancel it, which would have probably made the most sense, the most logical move, especially when it comes to retaining any semblance of good PR. They just don't mention the show, where it's going to take place. I mean, they mention the show, but they don't mention that it's going to take place in Saudi Arabia. So somehow, in their fucked up way of thinking about things in logic, I don't know who it was that came up with that idea. Hey, you know, we're under fire here from the media, so what do? Just don't mention where the show is. And somehow that's going to somewhat make it better. That, you know what I mean? That's going to make it easier for that pill to swallow, just by not saying where the show's going to take place. Which Yahoo came up with that idea? And the fact that they put it into practice, that means Vince McMahon approves of that business strategy. Just, we're going to do it, but we're not going to say where we're going to do it. So when they appear in Saudi Arabia, I mean, when they're in Saudi Arabia, are they going to say that they're in Saudi Arabia? Think about how weird that's going to be if they don't. We're going to be looking out at the audience, and we're going to clearly know where we are. You know, they're going to show the outside of the arena. We're going to know that this is not in the U.S. We already know, because if you had been watching the show prior to the incident with the journalist and the whole controversy and backlash, you're going to know where the show's taking place. So this is like really like treating people like they're fucking morons. Like, this is just outrageously just insulting to one's intelligence. And I don't know how they just like carry on and say like, this is fine, this is the way to go, this is the way to do things. So I won't be watching this show. Like I said, I would be a fucking hypocrite to go and all of us, you know, and do my, oh there motherfuckers, welcome to the Crown Jewel review, where I talked for months about, you know, how horrible this show is, and how, you know, it's against everyone's integrity and good morals, and I'm gonna like do the review and sit there and like, you know, review matches. I'm not gonna do that. You know, so I'm not going to sit there and watch a show that's so disrespectful to so many different people and groups. I mean, you know, like I'm saying, like, you know, you see protests all over the country. Lita comes out with a feminist shirt. Does she protest the fact that WWE is going to go to a country that would have her stoned if she dare committed infidelity or something along those lines. I mean, you know, or she did anything out of line if she attempted to maybe drive or, you know, get a job or something like that, or get educated beyond the 3rd grade or something along those lines. Of course not. Of course not, because, you know, everything, and not just wrestlers, everyone has such a small-minded approach. We all want to stand for something, but we really don't know even what we're standing for. You know, we all want to have a platform. We all want to have ideologies and thoughts, and we're getting, you know, the message across. But when it comes down to it, you know, we all want to be social justice warriors and start, you know, hurling stones at every little person that says every little thing. But when, you know, when it really counts, when you can make a difference, and you can have certain wrestlers refusing to go on this trip, just like, you know, RVD didn't do it for political reasons, but I said, like, he didn't want to go on the trip to Baghdad. So, you know, that was a little bit of a dick move, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a really nice thing that they were doing, and RVD didn't want to participate. I can understand, though. It's dangerous. They were kind of putting their life on the line, so I wasn't going to come down on him too hard about that. But when I heard that story recently, and I never knew that story, I think it had been known for quite some time. You know, it's like, that was somebody kind of taking a stand. They were just like, no, and no means no. I don't like what's going on here. And I think they're way more controlling than they were back in, when did they do that show? That was like 2003 or 2004. I think it was 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, now they have a way stricter, you know, type of way of doing business now. And, you know, it seems like people get buried and they get in the doghouse at the drop of a hat. So I kind of get why, like I said, some of the younger guys are not doing it, guys and girls. But I'm saying, like, you know, they all have big mouths on Twitter. And, you know, they always end up, like, fucking themselves over by saying something stupid. So, you know, say something stupid this time, guys. When it's finally your turn to have a voice, at least that way you could say that you stood up for something, and whether you got in trouble or not. You know, you get in trouble because, like, you know, you promote, like, stupid, and you act like marks online, like, oh, too sweet, and all this stupid shit that all these dumbass wrestlers do, and they end up getting in trouble for. Well, how come they don't get in trouble for, like, actually doing things that matter, like taking a stand against something despicable that they're doing? You know, that way, at least if WWE fires them or they get put in the doghouse, they could at least, you know, look justified in what they did, instead of most of the time when they just look like dumbasses with their thumbs up their asses. You know what I'm saying? Here's actually a time, like I'm saying, you know, Lita being like stereotypical, ooh, feminist across her shirt. Oh, I'm for females and, you know, women empowerment. But, you know, you got tons of money already, Lita. So you could have actually took a stand, made a post on your Twitter, and actually, like, said something like, you know, I'm all for evolution, but this crown jewel thing I'm not down with. You know, you could have. So, like I'm saying, like, does anybody have any fucking balls at all? They, you know, they won't say anything about the product to Vince. They won't say anything to anybody in management because they're scared they're going to be put on bad terms with the company or something along those lines. You know, they're scared that it's going to hurt their chances from making more money. And it really just shows that a lot of these wrestlers now, they're obsessed with money. No dollar amount is good enough for them. All they want to do is make all the money possible, even though it makes them look like shit. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be sitting at home. You know, Kane is going to be going back to Tennessee. And I'm like, is this guy out of his mind? He decided to leave the profession of wrestling, of WWE, a place where they take care of him pretty much. He's one of the legends. He's a future Hall of Famer, whatever the case may be. However you want to view it, he's a guy that's held in pretty high regard over there. But he decided that he wanted to run for mayor. And I'm full for that. Follow your dreams. He seems like a good guy. But he's going to leave his office so he could go to a country now that is under fire from the media. And now he's going to come back. He's going to come back to this country. He's going to sit in his office. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of his supporters that helped him get that office. They're going to be super fucking pissed off at him. They're going to be looking like, you don't have any integrity. You don't have any morals. You're just like every other politician. You just, all you're about is the money. All you're about, is just, like, why did you even want this? It doesn't seem like you're for the people. Because when it came down to the people and how they view you, you didn't give a shit. Not only that, but you left your home state to go and do another profession and do something very, very unpopular. And it's not like something unpopular like voting for another candidate or, having your own idea about something that, goes against the grain or popular culture. No, it was so you could make more money doing a wrestling event in a country that is responsible for the death of an innocent man, for a guy who writes for a goddamn newspaper. I'm just saying, like, first, guys, there's not going to be anybody in the YWC saying this, and it kills me. Because what really kills me is you have a guy like Schleg Daddy. And I know he went on to say, that in a lot of ways that, we get involved in a lot of foreign wars and we get ourselves involved in a lot of things. And we have ourselves to blame for relying on Saudi oil and all that, of course. But, put that all to the side, all these other little things. And, because that's what a lot of people do. Instead of focusing on one topic, they'll start throwing in other arguments to like build a wall so they don't have to talk about that topic. And I'm not saying that Schleg, that you're a really intelligent guy and I have all the respect for you in the world, but I think you did what a lot of other people do. They don't want to dig deeper. They're just like, oh, everyone's crybabies are crying about this. All they want to do is just have a payday. When it just goes beyond that. It makes them look really bad. And this is a pretty serious issue. This is a country that we claim is sort of an ally of sorts, but that's very, on the ropes, I would say. That's a very shaky statement that I have a lot of trouble standing by and saying with a straight face. And journalist goes in the embassy, never comes out again. He had a wife, I think he had kids. No one seems to care, but at least the media is outraged for a change. It's nice to see, that they didn't take a chance at bashing this country and they actually seemed outraged. I guess it was because it was one of their own. I guess that's why, because it was someone in the profession of journalism. So that's probably why they're making more of an issue of it than they normally would. But this was just kind of out in the open, and it's for a big paper, the Washington Post. But whatever the case may be, whatever the reasons is and how everyone's reacting, that doesn't matter. This is my video. I'm telling you how I feel and my opinion about it. And I feel like a lot of people are copping out on this. I'm very disappointed in a lot of people in the YWC, and I'm very disappointed in a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people on Instagram, where they're still promoting Crown Jewel. Hey, who's going to win the World Cup, guys? I don't care. I don't care about the World Cup. They could take that cup, shine it up real nice, and the fucking rest of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that shit. This garbage pay-per-view should have been canceled, or, at least save a little bit of face and at least postpone the shit until they can figure out what's going on. We all know what happened over there, but I'm just saying, for the sake, when we're in the realm right now of allegedly, saying things like that, when we all know what obviously happened, it's pretty much confirmed, but, until they find a body, it's going to be allegedly for a while. So, I mean, I'm just begging. If one of these wrestlers is not going to have it, then why don't one of you dirt sheet writers with the huge ass audience, because I have a small audience here, but, you know, why don't one of you people in the YWC and the IWC on the dirt sheets, somebody, a fucking indie wrestler or something like that, but it'd be more effective for somebody who's actually in the WWE to say something, to speak out against this and this business practice that is not only abysmal, not only in bad taste, but I think it would probably go down as probably the most tasteless thing that they've ever done, bar none. It's that bad. I mean, especially when Vince McMahon's wife is in Trump's cabinet, and Trump is trying to condemn Saudi Arabia for this act, saying the story doesn't add up, and driving this point home, getting on it like he should. And Linda McMahon is in her cabinet. I know she is not a part of the WWE anymore, and I know this is why she broke ties with it, but that is still her husband making that decision. That's still her son-in-law. That's still her daughter. And by the way, her daughter is not even allowed to fucking go over there. She's just... like, I don't understand. How can you, Stephanie McMahon, yourself, you know, you build yourself on TV to be like even stronger and scarier than all these men, and yet you won't even stand up to your own father on the concept of going to Saudi Arabia, when it's the very opposite of what the WWE evolution and the whole, you know, women's revolution is trying to accomplish. The feminism thing, it's a complete contradiction, and they put the fucking shows a week apart. Like, what was it like to I used to be able to say that word, juxtapose the two concepts, you know what I mean, almost side by side, where it's like, you know, here's, you know, women's independence, and, you know, here's where it's not legal. Oh God. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I think this is going to be the last time I'm going to talk about this show, because, I mean, this is it. The show is what? It's on Sunday. So there's not going to be any reason to even talk about this show anymore. I've already said it. I think I've poured my heart out in this video. You know, I did a nice little lengthy rant for you guys where this wasn't even a show or anything. You know, a show review. This wasn't a Raw or SmackDown or pay-per-view review. I just had to get it out there. So think of this as a placeholder for your crown jewel review, because this to me is way more important of a wrestling video to, you know, to do than just reviewing a show. You know, I'm going to review a show that goes against all my morals and principles and all my convictions and how I view the world, my outlook on life and the world and politics. And if I feel so strongly about something, why am I going to go against it? I'm not like that. I'll usually go with my gut, and my gut says not to watch this piece of shit, and you shouldn't either. Now, I'm not going to say that you're a horrible person for fucking looking at your screen and looking at a moving image. But, you know, if you feel like I do, it's probably a good idea not to click on the show. Don't give them ad revenue on it. Yes, there's ads on the network if you're not aware. Show them that you're not interested in this show. Show them that you're disgusted and that you want to have nothing to do with it. Now, I'm not going to cancel the network, but if you're going to do that, I support that. That's a noble thing to do right there. To show WWE that they're fucked up and that they deserve to be punished for their bad decisions and bad business practices. So, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And please make sure that you still subscribe. Also, something I'm going to start telling you guys to do, if you can make sure that you hit the thumbs up, which is another thing I've been watching people like the Quartering, for example, who I just started watching, and it's another guy that I really recommend you check out here on YouTube. He's got a lot of interesting things to say, shares an outlook much like my own. He says that thumbs up seem to help videos more, you know, get more into the recommended field. So help other people enjoy what you're enjoying right now. Hit the thumbs up. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post my new videos. And guys, this has been your YWC champ, and I'm signing out.